What's up, kings and queens? It's your boy Dan from Daft Previews, and our hot streak, our heater, it's come to an end. After 17-5 run, we get absolutely murdered yesterday. Looked like a murder scene, my bet tracker. We'll talk about it in a second. But in today's video, I got 3 bets that I've already put down, which I'm going to share with you all today. Now, if that sounds interesting, let's go.
Sub to the channel cause your boy's getting busy. Coming to you live from the west side of Sydney. We've got the free picks and the juice on the daily. It's all free, you don't even have to pay me.
Now, I shared 4 bets with you guys yesterday. Went 1 and 3, and the one that hit, I hated. We barely got there. But let's talk about it. I'm not going to hide this from you guys. VIP yesterday, minus 8.5 units. I think it's one of the worst days I've had all season. You can honestly close your eyes and pick random overs and unders and achieve a better result than I did yesterday. Despite losing all the bets, there's probably 2 that I'm unhappy about. It was a pretty awful day, not going to lie to you. But what do you do after a terrible day like this? Should you chase your losses? Nah, we don't do that over here. We stay disciplined, we stick to our strategy, maintain proper bankroll management. Now, a big part of this channel and why it's grown so quick is not only is it insightful, but a lot of you guys tend to learn a lot about the things that I do, the things that I talk about. So today, it's a bit of a lesson on how to bounce back after a loss. After the slow start, I didn't go ahead looking for more bets. I didn't try to chase the loss. I just wanted to wait, let the dust settle. The dust settled and it looked absolutely disgusting. Now, I'm sticking to the same strategy. That's gotten me this far. There are ups and downs, but this is sports betting. At the end of the day, I want to make bets, reflect on them, and if I'm happy with them, I know that we're on the right track. For the most part, things are looking pretty good in terms of the reads. Got a little bit unlucky with some bad bets. What can you do? We're going to bounce back today, and I need your help. Put in the comment section, revenge, if you want to get revenge on this day with me. And let's talk about some of these losses. I took Kobe White over 19.5 points, finished with 17, but he only attempted 11 shots. He had 13 points at halftime. Believe it or not, the Washington Wizards clamped up. I honestly didn't hate this bet. Zach LaVine went crazy in that second half. Kobe barely took some looks, and the shots that he did take, he didn't make anyway. So that was a frustrating loss. Goga Batadze over 9.5 rebounds. He didn't see the minutes that I expected, but even if he did, he wasn't going to hit this line anyway. Goga was too busy, worried about Jalen Duren. He was boxing out, letting other people grab some rebounds. So I'm taking a mental note there. So you got to learn from your lessons. The learning here is against Jalen Duren, people are probably going to be more concerned with boxing his big ass out than just getting the rebounds themselves. So I'll keep that in mind. DeJounte Murray over 7.5 assists. This was a painful loss. We did get hooked. He finishes on 7. And if you remember, my angle around this was that I like Trey Murphy to score. I like CJ McCollum to score. I don't know which one will, but I'm going to take DeJounte Murray here because someone's got to dime up these spot-up shooters. Now, I also said that DeJounte Murray has a difficult matchup to score some points, so his only way to get involved here is really to dime up. And a lot of those things came true. Trey Murphy went crazy. CJ McCollum went crazy. He scored some points too. DeJounte Murray struggled to score as I expected to. All the reads were right. The only thing I got wrong was the fact that he didn't get his assists. So that was painful. The fact that I had options that I considered, 3 other options before I landed on DeJounte Murray, ended up picking the wrong one. So I feel a bit unlucky. Bad bet at the end of the day. Got to get better. I also took Alperen Sengun over 11.5 rebounds. This was a garbage bet. It was awful. The whole angle here was that I expected him to get some offensive rebounds with Gafford and Lively looking to block everything. He didn't get any at all. So that bet absolutely sucked. And then Trae Young over 11.5 assists. The minute Jalen Johnson was ruled out, I knew this bet was cooked. Jalen Johnson wasn't on the injury report when I was doing all my research. It was only Trae Young on the injury report. So I feel a little bit hard done by. And then Russell Westbrook over 13.5 rebounds and assists. He had 11 assists and 2 boards. So we get hooked. That was a blowout. I loved his assists the whole time. I added the boards because it gave it a slightly better hit rate, which is a dumb way to bet, but I did it anyway. So that was very foolish of me. Did hit 2 other bets. Maxi over 26.5 points. He finishes on 27. Even though that one, I hated that bet because I expected Maxi to go off. I actually bet on him to go up to 40. That sucked, but it won. Russell Westbrook, I took him for 10 assists. We hit that at plus 300, but didn't hit the plays that I wanted to. Some tough reads, a bit of bad luck, but what can you do about it? Got to stay disciplined. This is the game that we're in. You can't win every day, and I apologize if I made it appear that you can. The reality is you go up and down. We just dropped for a minute, looking to get some revenge, bounce back, and we're going up. I've got a lot of bets down. I've got some ladder plays for the VIP. So if you're interested in checking out the VIP, I encourage you to check out BETR and BOOM, doing a giveaway. If you sign up with them, make a $10 deposit and email it to me, you're going to a draw to win $100 US. There's 45 people already entered that. So 5 more referrals is all we need, and that draw is going off. So be sure to check that out. You'll also get a month of my VIP picks for free. A great way to trial it all out and see if this thing is for you. Now, enough about that. Let's talk about these picks for the day. Let's go. So we're jumping into props madness. This is the best tool that you're going to find if you like betting on NBA player props. I guarantee that. Advanced filters, shot zones. It's got everything you need. If you're interested in checking it out, 7-day free trial in the video description below. 25% off if you use the code DAFT in your first month. Now let's talk about it. I got 3 bets. Looking to sweep today. I'm not going to be satisfied with a 2-1. I need a 3-0 day. The first bet we're looking at is in the Celtics versus Minnesota Timberwolves game. We are not betting on Jason Tatum. I can guarantee you that. We're actually betting on Anthony Edwards today. And Anthony Edwards, I've had a little bit of trouble betting on him. I've actually had a pretty good read when it comes to his rebounds and assists. Points-wise, 3-pointer props. He always seems to let me down with those. But rebounds and assists, we tend to have a good look on them. So I'm actually betting on his rebounds today. Looking at Anthony Edwards, over 5.5 rebounds. His recent form is pretty good. 5 out of his last 6 games, he's gone over 5.5 boards. I do love the odds for this. Best odds, -107 at Bet Rivers at the moment. But for the most part, -110, -120 is the worst I can see on here. So Anthony Edwards, I like the prop here, over 5.5 boards. Now, why do I like it? So if we just look at the raw numbers, the Celtics, 12th most rebounds allowed on the season, which is nice. It does help this bet out. But the thing that I love the most about this bet is how the game's going to be played. So the Boston Celtics, they attempt the most 3-pointers in the league by a very wide margin, 53-point attempts per game. The team closest to them is the Chicago Bulls. I think they take 44 attempts per game. The Celtics obviously shoot at a higher clip, but that's a lot of volume. And when you take a lot of 3-pointers like that, there's a lot of long rebounds and a lot of weak side rebounds. And it's a type of game where Anthony Edwards can really excel in. Looking at the play types and the matchups here, Anthony Edwards doesn't necessarily defend one particular person. He spends a little bit of time on Drew Holiday, a little bit of time on Jaylen Brown. He'll defend Derek White for a little bit. So he's not really designated to cover Jason Tatum, for example, who has a high usage rate. He often finds himself on the weak side. He does get a lot of long rebounds, and especially against the Boston Celtics, he's got a wonderful record. Now, he's covered this line against the Celtics in every single game against them for the past 2 years. I think that's 5 or 6 games. Looking deeper into those games, he sees a minimum of 10 rebound chances, often 12 to 13. So I was using Props Madness just to see how he performs in those types of matchups. But first, just so you know that I'm not lying, let me show you how the head-to-head numbers look. 1 game against the Celtics this year, 9 rebounds, 12 rebound chances. 2 games against them last year, check this out, 9 rebounds, 10 rebound chances, and then 6 rebounds from 11 rebound chances. So looking at using Props Madness, what I've done, I looked at the games where Anthony Edwards sees at least 10 rebound chances. It looks like he's flooring these types of matchups. When Anthony Edwards sees at least 10 rebound chances, he's over this line in 11 out of 15 games, averaging 6.7 boards. Now, what I also like about this, the spread, it's only 4 points in this game. Hopefully, Minnesota can keep it close. If they keep it close, Anthony Edwards is going to see a lot of minutes. The more minutes, more opportunities, the more likely he is to cover this line. It is a home game after all, so hopefully the Minnesota Timberwolves step it up at home, slow down this Boston Celtics offense so Anthony Edwards can get these boards. If you're into rebounding versus position, it's a pretty good one if you buy into that number. Over the last 15 games, the Boston Celtics, they do allow the 7th most rebounds to shooting guards in the league. So I guess it's just another point that puts us in the right direction. Similar types of players, 5 out of the last 8 have covered this line against the Boston Celtics, hitting at 22% over their closing line. So all signs point to yes here. I think the risk is if the Boston Celtics shoot well from 3, that means they're most likely going to blow out the Minnesota Timberwolves, who can't hang with them offensively. But it also means if they're making a lot of threes, Anthony Edwards is not going to see his rebound chances. So that's the risk in this play. It's not a lock. It's not a guarantee. I don't do that type of bullshit. So you're not going to hear any lies from me. But I do like Anthony Edwards to go over 5.5 boards. He's been rebounding well lately. He's got a good matchup against Boston. He's performed against Boston. The spread is close, and he should get his minutes. I do like it. Anthony Edwards over 5.5 boards, and you're getting it for pretty decent odds too. The next play, we're heading over to the Los Angeles Clippers versus the OKC Thunder. There's a couple of looks that I like in this game, and we can talk about that a little bit later, but let me show you with the official bet that I got for you, and it's on Lou Dort, the Torture Chamber. I'm taking him over 10.5 points today, and when you look at his graph and his numbers, you'll see he's hit this in 14 out of 27 games this season, a 51.9% hit rate. It's not great. He's averaging 9.3 points per game. The line's at 10.5. So again, there's probably a reason why here. Now, I've done a little bit of a deep dive on this, meaning I've watched a lot of film. I've looked at the games where Lou Dort specifically plays against James Harden and the Los Angeles Clippers. So we've got an excellent hit rate now. Here, not now. We've got an excellent hit rate on these types of matchups, but I can also explain how and why this happens. So if we just look at the head-to-head matchups Lou Dort has had with the Clippers this year, 2 games against them, 16 and 19 points, averaging 17.5 points per game against the Clippers. If you look at last season in head-to-head matchups, over in all three, 21, 19, and 19, averaging 19.7 points per game against James Harden and the Clippers. The other thing I noticed about all of these games, he's got pretty decent volume. 12 shots, 10 shots, 13 shots. In this season, 12 shots and 14 shots. So the volume is excellent, especially when you're looking at a line at 10.5 points. The other thing I like about this play is Lou Dort's locked in to get at least 30 minutes in this one. He's going to be the main defender on James Harden, the Dortcher chamber. He's going to look to chamber him up. So he's going to be locked in to get a lot of minutes. Now, using Props Madness, what I've done here, I looked at games. I just wanted to see volume. Yes, I know he can score against the Clippers, but I wanted to see if he gets similar types of games, similar types of volume, how does he perform? So I would say that the floor in terms of his volume of shots is about 10. But being conservative, I'm looking at games where he's taken at least 8 shots. So this season, when Lou Dort has taken a minimum of 8 attempts, he's over this line in 12 out of 15 games, averaging 13.9 points per game. So it's a really great angle here. And that's Lou Dort based on volume. So we know Lou Dort's going to get his minutes. We know that he's going to get his volume. We know that he scores against this matchup. Speaking a bit more about the matchup, he scores 46% of his points as a spot-up shooter. That is the weak point for the Los Angeles Clippers. So that matchup is pretty decent too. Now, I've also looked into some film to figure out how and why does this guy score so many points against the Los Angeles Clippers. And the main reason here is Lou Dort defends James Harden. Yes, we know that. That's a pretty obvious one. But when the OKC Thunder have the ball on offense, James Harden is the one defending Lou Dort. Well, can you say he's not defending him? So what you'll find is James Harden is often going to help on all drives. Anytime that ball gets into the paint, James Harden is going to sell on Lou Dort. He's going to leave him wide open. He's always going to help in the lane. He's always going to try to get some defensive rebounds so he can push the break. Oftentimes, he's going to leave Lou Dort wide open. Lou Dort's going to see a ton of wide open opportunities on the perimeter. If they do close out of him, he's good enough to drive past, get some body contact, and attack the rim as well. 2 main scoring ways that Lou Dort's going to score these points. He's going to catch and shoot, or he's going to drive it off the catch after a pump fake. He's going to try to get to the free throw line. He's going to miss a couple layups, I'll tell you that. I noticed that. I've watched every single shot that Lou Dort has taken against the Los Angeles Clippers in the last 2 years, and he misses a ton of easy shots. But the volume is there. So provided he's making 2 3-pointers, on volume alone, he's going to go over this line here, over 10.5 points. I'm liking Lou Dort here against the Los Angeles Clippers. Now, my last play, we're heading over to the Portland Trailblazers versus the Los Angeles Lakers. And I'm not wearing my Lakers shirt because of this. It's honestly something I wear to bed. And let's go. What have I got? In this one, I'm looking at DeAndre dominating. DeAndre Ayton, and I'm looking at his rebounds, over 9.5 boards today. If you're looking at his season data, he's over this in 13 out of 23 games, averaging 10.2 rebounds, right? Nothing too exciting. I really just love this matchup against the Lakers. I bet on Jared Allen recently to eat the Lakers alive, and he absolutely did that, got me paid, and I'm looking for DeAndre Ayton to take advantage of that same matchup. Now, the Lakers, they do allow the 3rd most rebounds to centers over the last 15 games. What I also love about this is 8 out of the last 11 players that are very similar to DeAndre Ayton, they've gone over their rebound line. We're talking about Jared Allen, Rudy Gobert, DeAndre Ayton himself, Walker Kessler, Isaiah Hartenstein, Jakob Poeltl, and then Allen and Gobert again. A lot of centers just been eating this team alive on the boards. Last time they played, December 9th, he had 19 rebounds in 35 minutes against the Los Angeles Lakers from 25 rebound chances. Now, that is a bit of an outlier. I don't expect that again. Rob Williams and Klingon were both out, so DeAndre Ayton did see a couple of extra minutes. I don't think he puts that type of output today, but I think he definitely covers more than 10 boards. Now, DeAndre Ayton, he is projected to play about 33 minutes in this game. So what I'm going to do here is look at games where he's played a minimum of 30 minutes. And we're going to play with a filter for rebounds allowed. The Lakers, they give it the 10th most rebounds allowed. So I'm going to filter this to the bottom half of the league. The bottom 15 teams in rebounds allowed. And when DeAndre Ayton plays at least 30 minutes against these weaker teams, he's over this line in 9 out of 10 games, averaging 12.8 rebounds per game. Now, if you wanted to be a little bit more conservative around it, we've got the minute set to 30. I know he's not playing 41 minutes. Even if we were to bring this down to 36, he's still None of these games he played more than 36 minutes in. Yeah, he can definitely get it done in less time. As I play with these filters, look, provided DeAndre Ayton plays 30 minutes, I think he's got a real good look here. Now, looking at the spread, it's an 8.5-point spread. The Lakers are the favorites. So if there is a Los Angeles Lakers blowout by any chance, obviously that's going to be very difficult for DeAndre Ayton. Portland Trailblazers get blown out quite a bit, but the Lakers aren't very good defensively. So I'm hoping that this Portland Trailblazers team can keep it close so Aiden can get his minutes and then he can get these rebounds. I do like it. Another good pivot, if this moves to 10.5, which I'm pretty sure it will by the time you guys see this, you can take his points, take his over for points. Sorry, not his over for points. You can take his points plus rebounds. But a better pivot, I think, is for him to get a double-double. Take him for 10 points, 10 rebounds. You should get that close to plus money. DeAndre Ayton has scored 10-plus points in every game that he's played more than 30 minutes in. He did score 14 points against the Los Angeles Lakers last time. He only shot 50% from the field as well. He normally shoots better than that. So DeAndre Ayton, 10 points, 10 rebounds. I think that's a great pivot. If his rebound line moves to 10.5, you can just take him for a double-double, and you should get pretty good odds for that too. Pump the brakes real quick to ask you guys to like the video, subscribe to the channel, because this is growing fast. We got 22,000 subscribers already. That's another milestone ticked off the books. Let's get to 23,000, and I need your help to do so. So subscribe if you haven't already. I'm dropping bangers just like this every single day. I'll give you more picks, more analysis, more insights than anybody else will, and I'll do it every single day for you. I ask that you take the time to leave me a comment down below. If there's a certain player that pissed you off yesterday, let me know about it. Type in the word revenge if you want to get revenge after a shocking day yesterday. If there's a certain play that you like, let me hear it. You can say anything you like. Put a comment in that comment section. It's going to help this YouTube algorithm get this out to more people. I appreciate everybody who does this. Now let's get into a bit of a deep dive. We'll go through each game and I'll give you some of my thoughts and my insights and maybe some of the key players or maybe some of the popular bets I foresee happening on this upcoming set of games. And I'll tell you whether I like it or not. All right, we got the Pacers versus the Heat. I think a popular player that we might see today here is Tyler Hero, under 5.5 assists. I say that this is probably going to be a popular play because it's a hit rate bettor's dream if you're looking at the under. The under has cash for Tyler Hero in 70% of games this season. He's only gone over this in 8 out of 27 games. He's up against Indiana Pacers, middle of the league in terms of assists allowed, 15th. But for the most part, Tyler Hero hasn't got this done. I think if you look at games with Jimmy Butler, we can see here that he has gone under in 15 out of the last 21 games. His potential assist volume is not crazy high. If you wanted to play with some filters here using props madness and you were to remove the 10 easiest matchups for getting some assists, we can see here that he's gone under in 12 out of 15 games, averaging 4.5 assists. So the under 5.5 assists is honestly not a bad play. You're looking at odds minus 110 on Fliff, minus 105 on DraftKings. Caesars has some pretty good odds for it too. I honestly don't hate this bet. It makes total sense to me if you're looking at the hit rate side of things. The matchup, not as difficult though. The Pacers do play with a pretty high pace, so the assists can come. Hero has played them twice already this year, finishing with 5 and 4 assists. One of those games, he had 13 potential assists though, but both of those games were without Jimmy Butler on the court. So it makes sense to me. I don't mind the under. I'm just preferring not to bet on unders. I don't know. Losing on an under just feels so much worse. Let me know if you feel the same way. Maybe it's just me, but I try not to avoid them. I can see the value in them. I'm not stupid. I get all that. It just sucks losing an under, and I'd hate to put 10,000 people on an under as well. And if we happen to lose this, I'd feel absolutely awful. But it does make sense. I do like the look there. Tyler Hero under his assists. Another play which I think is quite interesting is Bam Adebayo. Or should I say Scam Adebayo? And I'm thinking about his points here. Now, I know I'm not going to bet it, but I did consider this. He's scored 30 and 24 points in the 2 games against the Indiana Pacers already this season. And partly due to that is because the matchup is great. Bam scoring as a pick and roll man, getting to the free throw line, scoring in the paint. The Pacers team give up a ton of points in the paint. They give up the 8th most points to the pick and roll man. 3 out of the last 4 players have gone over this line. Bam has killed them in the 2 matchups already this season. My hesitation here was that there was no Jimmy Butler. Does that change things? I'm not too sure. If we look at the games without Jimmy, he averages 17 points a game. And if you look at the games with Jimmy, he averages 15.7. So you're seeing 2 points less when Jimmy Butler does play for Bam Adebayo. So that's my hesitation there. And 20 points for Bam is pretty high. He needs to be aggressive to get that, or he needs to be extremely efficient. I can't guarantee both of those things. So I'm passing on that. It does make a ton of sense to me, but not something that I'm really looking at. Looking at the Boston Celtics versus the Timberwolves, we got to talk about this. It's Kristaps Porzingis. Now, hit rate bettors are going to go crazy for this one, and I get it. The line for Kristaps is 14.5 points. He's hit this in 9 out of 11 games. He's averaging 18 points per game. Kristaps hasn't played a game in over a week. Now, even when he does come back from injury, like his first game against the Clippers this season, played 23 minutes, still scored 16 points. So even if they play him at about 20 to 25 minutes, there's a good chance that he goes over based on hit rates. But matchup-wise, it's not a good matchup here for Kristaps. Looking at the Timberwolves, and Kristaps likes scoring in the post. The Timberwolves allow the third fewest points in the post. He likes to score in the pick and roll. Timberwolves, middle of the league, about 16th in terms of points allowed to the pick and roll man. Spot up shooting, Timberwolves, 4th fewest points to spot up shooters, and even in transition, 10th fewest points in transition. So it's a difficult matchup for him. The most difficult matchup he's really had to deal with all season, because what you find here is that Kristaps, his dominant play type and his preferred shooting zone, he's got a difficult matchup for both of them. Whereas looking at the teams he's played this season, he's usually got a strong matchup in one or the other. Now, I'm not suggesting Kristaps goes under, but I'm not going to be carrying on saying Kristaps to score 14.5 points is an absolute lock today because he's hit it in 9 out of 11 games. He's a big man coming off injury, who's injury prone, that the Boston Celtics need to manage if they're any chance of going back-to-back this year. So betting on a potentially injured Kristaps, not something that I'm down to do today. Now, another one in this game is Anthony Edwards. And there's actually an over in his points. On the season, he's only hit this in 12 out of 27 games. But this type of matchup against Boston is perfect for him. Boston, they're going to back everybody to defend him one-on-one. They're not going to double. They're not going to let him get many assists off. Very similar to the read I made on the Houston Rockets. That was the game where he hit the game winner. He did hook me. His line is 24.5 points in this game. Anyway, but he's got a great matchup against the Celtics. Scoring in the pick and roll, the Celtics allow the third most points in the pick and roll, and they allow the second most points in isolation. Like, that's an Anthony Edwards special here. They're happy to let Anthony Edwards go to work, provided he doesn't get his teammates involved. And you can see it when he's played them. He's played them once this year, scored 28 points. He took 21 shots. Last year against the Celtics, 38 points and 29 points. Look at the volume, 25 and 25 shots. So he's taken 20-plus shots in all 3 games against the Boston Celtics in the last 2 years. We can actually use that data to see how he performs when he takes at least 20 shots. If he's going to be that aggressive, they're going to make him shoot. When Anthony Edwards takes 20-plus shots, he's over this line in 13 out of 21 games, averaging 26.6. If you bump that up to 25, which he's done in 2 out of the 3 games, he's over this line in 2 out of 3. So you're really hoping for a good shot percentage here, and that's not something that I'm down to play with. I prefer to grab something a little bit more safe, in my opinion. Negative variance and shot percentage is a painful way to lose a bet. But Anthony Edwards, he should be very aggressive. He should get a lot of shots. For those of you who like to water down plays or run bitch-ass parlays, I think Anthony Edwards for 20 points is not a bad look in this one. He should see a lot of shots in it. The Boston Celtics are going to make him shoot. Looking at the Brooklyn Nets versus the Milwaukee Bucks. We've got to talk about Dame Lillard. Now, Dame just scored 9 points against the Indiana Pacers, 3 for 14. He was at 0 for a very long time. Up against the Brooklyn Nets, and he's got an awful matchup. The Brooklyn Nets allow the fewest points in the pick and roll this year. Damian Lillard scores 38% of his points in the pick and roll. You can see it in the 2 games he's already played against Brooklyn, 21 and 15 points going under this line in both games. He saw the minutes, doesn't get the shot volume. So the Brooklyn Nets are going to make it difficult for him to get some shots off. They might be susceptible to some assists, though. So he has dimed up in 1 out of the 2 games. But in terms of points for Dame, might be a difficult one. If we look at his shot zone, 51% of his points are scored above the break. The Brooklyn Nets, 10th fewest points allowed above the break. So if you're thinking of betting Damian Lillard for 20 because it's safer, it's probably not that safe. This matchup is awful for Dame Lillard. Now, I'm not betting his under. If I had to bet, I probably would bet his under in points. But like I said earlier, I don't feel like betting unders at all. And another one I want to talk about is D'Lo. So D'Lo in his first game for the Brooklyn Nets since the trade. In that last video, I was talking through it. I want to bet his over, but I want to see. I wish I bet his over because he killed it. He scored 22 points. I think he had 8 assists as well. So definitely diamond up. Now, he's up against the Milwaukee Bucks, and the matchup's not too bad. The one thing you need to factor in here is that Cam Thomas is back. Cam Thomas also scores in the pick and roll, also scores from above the break. So it's his second game since returning from injury. In his first game, 25 minutes, 25 points. He took 18 shots. So D'Lo's going to have to share some volume with Cam Thomas. That's why I'm not betting on either of them. I don't know who's going to ball out today, but I think one of them has a really good game here against the Milwaukee Bucks. I just can't tell you which one it's going to be. So I'd say be cautious if you're looking to bet on one of those guys because they haven't got a sample size of games together. Clippers versus the Thunder. I did say I have a couple of good looks in this one. And the first look that I have, and I was really close to betting this. Like I actually placed the bet on this and then I cashed it out. Believe it or not. And it was purely because I had too many bets down. But Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, looking at his assist prop, over 5.5, is actually a plus money play on some books. And you know how I feel about plus money. It gets me excited. Now, SGA's only hit this in 13 out of 27 games. He's averaging 5.8 assists per game. But in his games against this Los Angeles Clippers team, he's hit really well. 9 assists in both games he's played against them this season. Last season, 4, 4, and 8. So the potential is definitely there. Something happened in this last game. I'll tell you what happened. What happened here is Shai been killing these guys, scoring points. The Clippers figured out the only way to stop him is to play a lot more zone. When the Clippers go into zone, SGA is just very simple, just driving and kicking out to open shooters. Lou Dort, Isaiah Joe, Jalen Williams, these guys just knocking down threes. Now, this correlates very well to the Lou Dort play that I have. The problem is I didn't want to take both of them because chances are they either both win or they both lose, and I didn't want to take that risk given the awful day that I had yesterday. If it wasn't for that day and we were still on a heater, I'd probably still bet both of them. But trying to be a little bit conservative here. But SGA over his assists, it makes a ton of sense. What I noticed in these games, he's also getting at least 10 potential assists when he's versing the Clippers. And if we just look at the games where he gets 10 potential assists, he's got a pretty decent hit rate here. 10 potential assists for SGA. 15 out of 23 games this season, averaging 6.6 assists. And that obviously includes the 2 9-assist games against the Clippers already. They are going to have Derrick Jones Jr. as his primary defender, but at the same time, they're going to need help. When they send help or James Harden's camping in the lane, SGA is often going to be that person to find them shooters out on the wing, whether it be Aaron Wiggins, Lou Dort, Isaiah Joe, Jalen Williams, AJ Mitchell, Cason Wallace, whoever it is. He's going to find wide open shooters, and it comes down to them making some shots. So SGA, I do like the over for his assists. If I did have to bet it, I would definitely be betting his over. Now, looking at the Clippers, I think someone to talk about is Norm Powell, who's just almost as steady as it gets. Now, Norm Powell's over his points line in 22.5 in 18 out of 26 games. Now, he has an awful matchup to score points in this one. Transition-wise, they don't give up points in transition. They do give up points to spot-up shooters, though, so that helps. They're not going to let him score in the pick and roll. And looking at his shot zones, we can see here that he scores 48% of his points above the break. OKC, second fewest points allowed above the break. So that part is all difficult, right? But Norm Powell doesn't give a damn about matchups. Check this out. Head-to-head matchups against OKC this year, 24 and 31 points. He's given him the business. He hasn't even had really high shot volume. He's just been really efficient. So if Norm Powell can find a way to get more shots, then he could easily cover this line. But if you're someone who's betting on Norm Powell because of the hit rate and stuff, I get it, and I wouldn't talk you away from that. Despite the matchup being somewhat difficult, Norm Powell delivers. He's one of the players who's a little bit immune, I'd say, to the matchups, whether it's a good matchup or a bad matchup. He's putting together the same type of shit most of the time anyway. So, your Norm Powell lovers out there, I don't hate the bet. Then we've got the 76ers versus the Warriors. Now, I didn't bet on this game at all. I didn't give it a second, and that's because we have some game time decisions that are pretty impactful, I would say. Steph Curry's a game-time decision. Draymond's a game-time decision. Kelly Oubre is a game-time decision. Joel Embiid is a game-time decision as well. 76ers are on a back-to-back. So I couldn't tell you what happens. But to share one thing, Tyrese Maxey, I did bet his over today. I'd consider betting his under in this one. Awful matchup here against the Golden State Warriors, who don't give up many points to the pick and roll. They don't give it up in transition either, and they give up the 8th fewest points above the break. Now, Tyrese Maxey is inefficient as they come. Like, I was watching the game today, hoping he'd get 27 points. And I was just thinking to myself, how many step-back three-point fadeaways can you honestly take in a game? There are better shots you could be taking, but somebody tell that to Tyrese Maxey. Just taking bad shot after bad shot, eventually making one of them. But, yeah, it was a painful watch. He's got an awful matchup against Golden State. if Joel Embiid is in, it might be worth taking an under. Who knows? But yeah, I'm a little bit unsure about this game, so I didn't spend too much time on it. Then we've got the Blazers versus the Lakers, and I think we've got to talk about Austin Reeves. I think everybody's going to be betting on Austin Reeves today, and if you weren't thinking about betting on Austin Reeves, you probably will be after this. Now, Austin Reeves has just started going crazy ever since D'Lo left. So D'Lo got traded. Austin Reeves seen a ton of minutes, and you can see it here. Last couple of games, 26, 26, 35 points, killing it. Looking at his assists, 10, 16, and 10. Killing it. Looking at his rebounds, 10, 6, and 9. Killing it. Like his lines are so low. It feels like something's going on. It feels like there's an error. But the lines have been low for the last 6 hours now as I'm recording this. I've seen a ton of people betting on it, and the lines haven't really moved. So I imagine that his rebounds, assists, and points line, they are going to move a little bit, but they're still going to be well under what he has been producing as of late. So it's a really interesting one. Like I'm betting it because I don't want to miss out on all the fun. I'm betting on his rebounds and assists if you wanted to know. But the reasons I'm betting on his rebounds and assists, very much the same as you would be if you're betting on his points. It's just the last 3 games, he's been an absolute animal. No D'Lo, gave Vincent's a game time decision. Austin Reeves playing that point guard role, and he's doing a great job. Like, unless he's not playing that role and LeBron does it, then I don't see how he doesn't hit these lines. You can honestly go with his points, his rebounds, or his assists, or you can take his PRA, whichever one of them. The reason you're taking the bet, it's all very much the same. He's going to play a ton of minutes. He's going to see a high usage rate. He's going to see a lot of opportunities, and he's got a pretty good matchup here against the Portland Trail Blazers. They give up a lot of points to his different styles. They give up a lot of rebounds and assists as well. Bottom 8 in assists, bottom 9 in rebounds. Like, it's a match made in heaven for Austin Reeves bettors. So take a look at it. Take any of the picks for Austin Reeves if you're down for it. I know I am. I don't want to miss out on something that comes across as so easy. I was being a bloody pick snob yesterday, making fun of Christian Brown bettors when Christian Brown hit, and I've lost most of my bets anyway. So there's nothing wrong with betting on hit rate. I think I just want to feel more confident about it. If I was going to bet on it, this just makes too much sense. We're betting on opportunity here. The whole angle, Austin Reeves is going to see more opportunity. So Austin Reeves is a bet for me. Outside of that, what else do we have in this game? You know that I'm betting on DeAndre Ayton. I want to have a look at Denny Advia. Now, this guy's been playing like a beast. When we last bet on him, I think his line was like 11.5 or something like that, and he was cashing it like crazy. Now his line's moved up to 15.5. Now, Denny Advia is in the starting lineup, so that helps. Jeremy Grant is out. So if we take a look at his games without Jeremy Grant, I wonder how many games we'll see. 3 games without Jeremy Grant, he scored 16, 20, and 17. So over in all 3 games without Jeremy Grant in the lineup, his volume, 12, 15, and 9 shots. So not a ton of shots, but somewhat efficient. If we look at his matchup, the Lakers, they defend spot-up shooters quite well. They do give it up in transition, though. So, yeah, I'd be a little bit hesitant to bet on Denny on this one. He's probably not going to see the wide-open looks he has been seeing as of late. But, yeah, if you're looking at the hit rate, like he's playing really well. I won't talk you off that ledge. But, yeah, that's my thoughts on that so far. My thoughts on LeBron and AD, man, I ain't betting either of these dudes. I don't know what they're doing. It's hard to bet on LeBron right now, especially with Austin Reeves going crazy. Like, with Austin Reeves going nuts, LeBron is coasting. Like, he's still getting stats, don't get me wrong, but his line's still high. 24.5 points, 8.5 assists, 6.5 rebounds. If Austin Reeves is going to go to work and muck around with a triple-double, is it worth looking at an under here for LeBron? I don't know, but I'd love to bet a LeBron one more time this season. And then looking at AD, can anybody trust AD? He's got a tough matchup. The Portland Trail Blazers, 3rd fewest points to the pick and roll man. AD did have 30 points against Portland last time they played, though. 10 from 21. There was no LeBron in the lineup, though, so you have to factor that in. He had 11 rebounds and 1 assist in that game. Yeah, I just can't get there with Anthony Davis either. So him and LeBron in the same bucket for me. Their lines are super high. And unless I feel like taking an under, I'm probably going to avoid them for the foreseeable future. I think Austin Reeves is the train that we ride until either he stops producing or they move his lines to a point where it's not playable. I think Austin Reeves is going to be that guy today. I think it's been a real popular bet. There's going to be a lot of people upset with Austin Reeves, or a lot of people saying that they're the best at making picks because they bet on Austin Reeves. So if anyone celebrates getting Austin Reeves pick right today, you can throw that person in the bin, because even if Austin Reeves cashes today, I am not going to be celebrating it. It's the most obvious thing I've seen in the world. And if it's that obvious, it's probably too good to be true, but I'm not going to miss it either. FOMO, right? Now that's enough of me banging on about plays that I'm not going to bet on. Well, I did bet on Austin Reeves and I told you that, but hopefully we cash out today. I honestly hope we do. We got to bounce back. Let me know in the comment section what your thoughts are. Do you like the picks? Are you fading them? Is revenge on your mind? Also, get into that draw for Boom and Better Fantasy. 5 more people required, and then this giveaway is taking place. 3 people are going to win $100. Hopefully, it happens in the next video. The link for all of that stuff is in the video description below. I appreciate you guys. Love all the support. Let's go. Let's get it.
Sub to the channel cause your boy's getting busy. Coming to your line from the west side of Sydney. We've got the free picks and the juice on the daily. It's all free, you don't even have to pay me.